Hello and welcome to another video. This is Cracking the Cryptic app, Fog of War pack, puzzle number 4, Candlestick. The rules are: Fog of War, correctly place digits to clear the fog around them. Classic, every row, column, and box must have all numbers from 1 to 9 exactly once. And then we have Arrow. The numbers along the shaft of each arrow must sum to the number at the base. And lastly, partial Kropki. A white dot between two cells indicates that the neighboring digits are consecutive. A black dot between two cells indicates that one of the digits is twice as big as the other digit. Not all possible dots are given. We also have a custom rule. All arrow sums are single digit, and arrows do not cross or overlap, but multiple arrows may share a circle. Okay, let us begin. This obviously cannot be a base of an arrow because this would have to be the same value as this one, and they're in the same box, so that's not possible. So this has to be a part of the shaft of this arrow. Let's consider the minimal possible values that this could have. So first, the minimal values here are 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I cannot click today. 1, 2, 3. And the minimal values here are 1 and 2. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, and this is 3. That would be a 9. And the custom rule already says that the maximum value of each arrow is indeed a 9. So that means that this over here is not a part of the shaft anymore. It has to be the base itself, and it has to be a 9. So quickly, let's just fill in everything else, and then we can begin solving the rest of this Sudoku. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 9. Okay, so this is a 9. And then we have a triple here, so we know this is not 1, 2, or 3. And then we have a pair here, so this cannot be a 1 or a 2. Let me check if I clicked on the correct thing. Okay, so let's move on. We see that there can be an 8 here, because that would sum up over 9. And there cannot be a 7 here either. And we don't technically know if this is just 2 cells long or if it's 3 cells long, like 3 plus 4 plus 2 here maybe. So we'll hold on to that. Or even like 3, 4, yeah, 2 is the only possible value here. So let's check what else we have. This thing over here cannot be a circle. It cannot be a base of an arrow. It has to be a part of this shaft. And if we consider the lowest possible values up here, that's 1 plus 2 plus 3, that's a 6 here again. And the lowest possible value of this thing is a 3. So the lowest possible sum of the arrow is 9, which is also the maximum value of the arrow as per the custom rules. So that means that this thing has to be a 9. And then this thing over here must be a 3. And this thing cannot be anything but 1, 2, and 3. So then, over here, we cannot have 1, a 2, or a 3. Alright, so since that thing cannot be a 3, this thing cannot have a 6, it cannot have 7, 5, or a 9 in it. So it's either 4 or an 8. And then we have a 1, 2 pair, so there is no 1 or 2 over here. And since there's no 3 here, that means that we cannot have a 6 anymore, making this a 4, 5 pair. So we can remove the 4, 5 here. 4, and then 5. Okay, so this thing cannot be 5, 7, or a 9. And since it's either 6 or an 8, this cannot be a 1, cannot be a 2, and it cannot be a 6 because there's no 3. So it has to be an 8, and this has to be a 4. Now, what else can we get here? Well, this cannot be a 1 because there is no 2 here. So this has to be a 2, and this has to be a 4. So this is a 1, then this is a 2, and this cannot be a 5, so this must be a 4. So this, since it's not a 2, it has to be an 8. And since an 8 is a part of a shaft, that means that this is a 1 and this is a 9. Okay. So this cannot be a 5 or a 7 or a 9. Can this thing be a 7? No. Well, yes, actually. But this thing can be a 7 because the lowest value here is a 3. Okay. Let's keep looking upwards. There is no possible way this could be a 9 because it's a part of a shaft. It cannot be a 7 either because that would be 11. This would be a 10. So with this 5 over here, that would make this a 9. And yeah, this is the 9. So we see that a 9 must be here and the 9 must be here because it's the only places where a 9 can be. How do we proceed? So there's a 5 here, of course. And now let's go through all digits just to see if we may be missing something. 1, there's a 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now 6 or 7, 8. And lastly, oh, I see. So you can see that there's a little arrow poking out of this thing. And so that means that this thing is a part of an arrow. And if this was a 9 here, that means that this thing would sum up to more than 9. So a 9 cannot possibly be a part of an arrow except if it was at its base. And a base and its shaft cannot be, if a shaft is just one long, they cannot be in the same box. So therefore, this is not the 9, and the 9 must be here. So then the 9 is here, and then we've finished placing all the 9s. Pretty good. A 7 cannot be here, as there is no 2. And the 5 can't be there, since there is no 4. So this is, along with this, it's not 3 or 6. So that's 7, 6, 5. So that has to be a 4. 287 is here. So this has to be a 3. And then this thing cannot be a 2 or a 7. Can this thing be a 7? No. Well, no, it can't, because 7 plus 1 would be an 8, and then there's just no way to finish a 9. So this cannot be a 7. Can this thing be a 5? Maybe. If it goes 5 and 2, no, it actually can't. So if it goes like 5 plus 2 is 7, so it would need the only value afterwards that it can take is a 4. So that will be over 9. So this has to be a 1 and an 8. This is 5. Okay. Pretty good. So let's just go through everything and make sure we're not missing anything. So 1, there's probably stuff up here that we can solve. We'll leave that for later. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6. There's some stuff here actually that I think is worth taking a look at. So this cannot have an 8 because we can see that it's at least 3 long. So this cannot be an 8. So that means that these also cannot be an 8 or a 7 for that matter. Can it be a 6? No, because that will make this a 5. So cannot be a 6. Also cannot be a 5 because that will make that a 6. Can it be a 4 over here? Nope. Because the least value here is a 5. And with this it will go over 9, so it cannot be a 4. Oh, that's cool. So 1, 2, and 3. That's a triple. So that means that in all other cells over here, you cannot have a 1, a 2, or a 3. Pretty good. So, since you don't have a 4 here, that means that this can't be an 8. This has to be a 6. So this is a 3. All right. Let's keep going. This cannot be a 6. And it cannot be a 7, obviously. Or can it be an 8? So this has to be a 4, 2. So this is a 3, 1, 5, and then 7, and then 2. Okay. Are we missing anything obvious? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so an 8 cannot be up here because it has to be somewhere here. And then the 9s are already settled. Okay, so an 8 is somewhere here. So again, it cannot be anywhere up here. So that means that an 8 has to be somewhere here. So it's either here or it's here, meaning that, interesting, so if an 8 was here, the lowest possible value here would be a 2, making that a 10. So it cannot be here. That means that this pair here is an 8, 1. So since the 1 is here, that means that there's the 1 and that there's the 8. And now we see that this is a 3, 6 pair adding up to the 9, meaning that this is a 6 and that this is a 3. So we can fill in the rest. 8, 6, 7. So this is a 7. 1, 2, 4 is up here. So 2 and 4 cannot be down there. 2, 7, 6, 1, 7, 5, 2 and a 4, and 6 and 3, 8, 6, And this is a 4. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So, you see how this 5 plus 3 is 8, so this thing has to be a 1. 2, 1, 8, 5, 7, 8, and the puzzle is over. Okay, so 6, 3, 2, 5, and 7. 3, and lastly 1. Okay, that was pretty fun. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.